Hello, everyone, and welcome to Write a Full Novella with Chat. I'm not crazy about the title. We are not going to be able to do a full novella today. The class is an hour long. In my experience, it takes about 2 hours to write a novella using Sudowrite's Chat feature. But we're going to do what we can to set it up as best we can, get at least a chapter written, and then do some maybe revision prompts, marketing, something along those lines. We may need to jump into another project for that ending part since we won't have a full novel to work with. Things to know for today. As always, my workflow is not the only one. For the demo, I am going to be doing the simplest workflow that I know works. I'm going to try to use mostly simple prompts. I just might throw a couple of lengthier prompts in for comparison, but I am going to try to keep them super, super simple for y'all. I also have another little workflow laid out in the document that y'all are going to get. But there are still more ways to do this. Take what you like from my workflow, get rid of what you don't like, add in whatever you need. Make it work for you. Remember to talk to chat just like a regular person. So just have that conversation. You don't need an intricate prompt. Worst case scenario, you may just need to go back and forth a few times. No, that's not what I want. I want something like this. No, that's not quite it. Do this instead. And eventually you will learn how to prompt better and get better results faster. I highly recommend keeping a Google Doc, Word doc, Notion, if you like Notion like I do. Have a place to store prompts that get shared in Discord or shared in classes. That way you always have a spot to refer to for your favorite prompts. It's also a good place to keep preferred style wording or little tips and things shared with y'all. Right. Remember to follow up and correct the AI. So if it's not giving you what you want, just tell it. If you can't figure out how to tell it, try to give it an example. And again, worst case scenario, you just might have to go back and forth a few times. Remember, if you're using standards, that's the free version of Sudowrite Chat. It's a great one to do if you're still getting all of your ideas together and you're just trying to get a sort of first draft in place. Let that be your free one. And then you can use high quality to improve from there if you want. All right, let's get started. So again, I will share 2 links for anybody that needs this one. This is the document that has all of my classes in it. This is yesterday's class and this is today's. So I'll share this one for those of you who need this link. And then I will share just that single document for those that need it. There you go. I'm not going to go over all of the stuff. We went over this yesterday and it's laid out here. You can read it. I do have this link opened up, so you may see me refer to that. Same thing we went over yesterday. So again, everything's laid out. If you're interested, didn't attend yesterday's class, read through that. So this is one way to use Sudowrite's chat feature. So we're going to go over the sections in this document real quick before we dive in. So I keep it simple. In one document, I just write down my ideas. I write down everything I know about the story. It might not be a lot. It might just be a paragraph and that's all I know. Just write down who the characters are, what's going on, what you want to happen, how you want the characters to react, little things like that. And then these are the simple prompts that we will be using today. So you see, I kept them very, very, very simple. Now, does that mean these are the only prompts? These are the best prompts? No, they're just the simplest ones. They work. I've used this. I've literally published novellas using these prompts from Sudowrite Chat. So I know it works. An alternative workflow is to start out in that document, write all of the details out that you know, but then segment things. So when I was testing, I was segmenting into about 150 words. To me, that was going to create what I saw as a scene in my head. And then the next segment would be another scene. So even if it's just one sentence, two sentences, if I felt, okay, this is going to make a big scene, I would leave that one alone. And then each of those little segments I would put into a chapter in the outline and then generate scenes for it and again adjust as needed. And then generate with the wanted model inside draft. And then I did experiment, and 200 to 250 words seemed to be the good spot for those segments versus the 150. Made some nice chunky scenes that gave good prose. I usually use excellent. I'd say 99.9% of the time I'm using excellent inside the draft. And then here are some more prompts. So again, we're not going to go through this, but we might grab some. I just want to make sure you know they're there. I even have this. So this one is an intricate premise request. We might actually throw this in just so y'all can see how it comes out. But we're going to try to stick with simple stuff today. All right, I want to show y'all something real quick. Let me take a sip of coffee here. While I'm demoing this, also put in the chat what genre y'all want to do today. I had ideas for a dystopian, which I'm actually going to write, so that may not go so well. I'm stubborn about my stories I want to write. And I thought maybe we could also do like a Christmas rom-com, but I'm open to other things. So just type in the chat what kind of genre you would like to see us work on. Now, I know I said I was sticking simple. I promise you this is simple, but even though this this session is about using chat, I wanted to show y'all this because it is one of my favorite things to do. And if I like it so much, honestly, I don't think anybody else likes it. I don't hear people talk about it, but it's still my favorite way to brainstorm ideas for when I just know, hey, I want to write a mafia romance, or I want to write a MC romance, whatever genre I'm thinking of. If I just have little to none ideas, I use this, what I'm about to show y'all. So there is a world building brainstorm card that I like to use. So all I did to generate this right here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to scroll up and show you. Nothing in synopsis. You can see this wasn't relevant at all. That was another little test we were doing for a class. So nothing in those. All I did was I have a brainstormer card. Click that. In that instruction box that pops up, I always tell it what genre I want to write in, and if I do have any other details. Remember, that little instruction box that pops up can hold at least 1,000 words. So if I do have some ideas, I'll throw it in there. I'm trying to think of, here, let me just use my go-to prompt. Maybe I know I want to write a fantasy. So, hey, I want to write a fantasy. I want it to be lit RPG style, and I want humans, dwarves, orcs, trolls, dragons, everything. I would put that in there and then let this card generate. Y'all do have access to this. I have it linked in my documents, but I'll share it here just so y'all don't have to go searching for it. So this spreadsheet is just a variety of things to get y'all started with the character and world building card. So if you're stuck, like, I don't know what kind of traits I want, which also Chad is going to help us with that today. But let's say, hey, I want to customize my card, but I don't know what I want. Go through these. So we have a character one you can go through. Just click on these and it's going to open up a Google Doc for you. Settings, D&D if you like that, lit RPG, whole bunch of stuff you can look through. If you go to the Uber Sudowrite templates, there is the world building brainstormer. That is that card right there. Now you can see from some of the traits, it's kind of geared towards sci-fi fantasy type. Maybe some horror, depending on the type of horror. So let's say you do like how this comes out. You could take this prompt and either in Sudowrite Chat or your LLM, copy this, take it to that AI and say, hey, change this up to be for YA fantasy. Change this up to be for psychological thrillers, contemporary romance. Just give me a new template to suit that genre. and it'll change it up for you and you'll have it ready to go. But I love the fact that this does help give me so many ideas. So I generate this card. That's all I do. Again, I've gone in here, selected my Brainstormer card, told it for this one, I wanted to write a dystopian Omegaverse, and it gave me some output. What I do with this doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to actually use this card, although I like how this one came out. But what I'm doing is looking for ideas. So I'll go through this card and see what jumps out at me. So we would just read through real quick. It talked about designation event 2157. So I'm like, you know what? That sounds interesting. Let's get more on that. So I did a card for a key event and I put in the instructions. Hey, I wanted that right there. And this is what it gave me. So you can see how it's an easy way to build. Now, of course, it costs credits, but it's still a fun way for me, at least, to get some ideas. And I usually get, I'd say 3 to 5 ideas on things from this brainstorming card. So I just wanted to show y'all that real quick. Any questions on that before I move away?
Mr. Bill is asking, how did your brainstorming card end up there?
So you go to customize right here, and you can type in, it doesn't look like you can, but you can type in whatever you want. You know, ship designs, house blueprints, whatever you need, you could type that in and you would click that create, and then you would add in the trait fields. And again, I just added from this world building brainstormer right here. I just put those traits for each one in my trait field descriptions and then saved it. So now I have my brainstormer card right here. World building is awesome. This is what we're trying to get for characters. You can do so much with world building cards. It's crazy. All right.
Nicole, sorry
Yes,
to
sir.
interrupt. Real quick question. I'm looking at your doc and seeing where it says world building brainstormer, but I can't open up the actual template there for the world building brainstormer. What am I doing wrong?
It's not letting me click right now. I think it might be getting overloaded because I see several people in. But I promise it works. I haven't had any complaints about people not being able to get it right now. So let's test it again after class just to make sure.
Sounds
But
good.
you'll have
Thanks.
to remind me. Again, really bad
Will do.
memory. All right. What were the results from genre? What did people want? Let's see.
I think I counted, it was really close, but I think I counted one more vote for Christmas rom-com than dystopian. But there's also a suggestion for dystopian Christmas rom-com.
Just, well, okay. Okay, that gives me an idea. Again, you probably remind me on that. Okay, I can do that. I really want to do the rom-com anyways. All right, so I did have a chat started here already. I just want to show y'all this. So remember I said, if you don't know what kind of traits you want, you can ask Sudowrite Chat, especially if you have your story here already, or at least as much as you know of your story. And I would maybe type the genre just so it knows it. The AI is really good at understanding what genre you're after. But if you're a little worried because you're so thin on the details, you might want to throw in, hey, this is a psychological horror or something along those lines. And then you can ask it to give you a list of character trait fields. So there's a variety of prompts you can use here. This was simple. Give me a list of character trait fields for my characters in a romantasy story. And you see what it gave right here. So if I like these, I could put these into my character card. Give me a list of character trait fields for erotic dark romance story. And you see it gave slightly different ones. Desires, romantic preferences, power dynamics, secret desires, fetishes. And there is a more intricate prompt. Just trying to find it real quick. There we go. All right, so this one. Create a detailed character sheet for each main character in the story. Include whatever trait fields make sense based on the genre, setting, and tone. So that's one you might want to try. Now, remember, I talked about there could be slight differences doing a novella versus a novel. That mainly comes down to where do you want to put your stuff? Do you want to utilize the character cards down here? Do you want to utilize the world building and outline? That is all those are things that you have to figure out for your workflow. That's going to be the main difference. What are you going to utilize? Would you prefer just to have documents here? And you can name them characters. Outline whatever, have a document for each section you need. That is fine. And then you know to just reference those whenever you use the chat. So instead of putting all of this in a character card, I can just put it for each character here. I can ask chat, okay, fill this out for each of my characters. It's going to give me the output. I copy it into the document. Done. Or go down here to characters, do what you need to do to set that up. Whatever works for you. I'm not going to say there's any right or wrong way there. I think that's mostly going to come down to how many words would be in each of your documents here. If there's going to be way too many words, if your documents end up with like 20,000 words each, I could see chat running into some issues to continue to help you all the way through your story. So that's why novellas work very well and easy for me to just utilize a document, or I will have my character cards and I just have a few traits. I'm just saying, hey, I want to know what they look like, how they like to dress, sample lines of dialogue, little backstory. That's pretty much it. I don't need to know because I'm doing those short stories. Now, obviously, for a full-length novella, you tend to want some more traits. So play around with that in a document or in the little story Bible section. See what works best for you.
We have a question, Nicole.
Yes, ma'am.
So with a more advanced prompt, like create a detailed character sheet with every trait and all, do you typically use the free one or the version that uses credits?
That is a new prompt. I just worked with an LLM and came up with that for this class, trying to keep a prompt simple. So I haven't actually used that one yet. We're probably going to do it for this story, though. And we can compare. Let's see, that one was so, I think I think the free one could actually do a good job on this. Worst case scenario, instead of saying for each main character, I might take it a character at a time. So that way it's focusing just on that character and doing its best job on that character versus trying to fit all of the main characters, however many you might have in there. All right. And then, yeah, so I put these whenever I'm actually doing it. If I do a character card, just a few traits. All right, so I will show y'all, we're going to do these simple ones, but I do want to see, gotta see what this would look like. So let's do this one real quick. And I really think this one needs higher quality. Try to judge by length or complexity. If you're asking for a complex task, you're likely going to want higher quality. But again, if you just, hey, I need to save my credits, I can't be doing that, maybe take it in sections with standard, or hey, let standard give it all to standard at one time. Just understand the output might not be as good, might not be as detailed, but then what you can do is still using standard, go through this output right here. So let's say this was standards output. And it gave me like half of everything that you see here and only a few sentences here. So then I could go back and I can just work on each section. Okay, let's expand this plot area right here. Let's look more at fleshing out this character. you can do that and stay within standard. I think that would work better. Like if you're determined, hey, I need to use the free one, give that full output. If you're using a lengthy prompt, let it, that way it has that whole context all in one to make things flow better, and then go back through and start expanding things. All right. Shirley Jackson meets Tana French. So you see all of that. So that is the type of stuff you can get once you learn and you're comfortable with prompting. You can get this level of output right here. And then let's just do the simple one. So I'm going to go back to standard and use that simple prompt. And again, that one was here. If y'all like that prompt, want to use it. Or again, make it work for you. If you like some of it, take it to an LLM and say, hey, I want to change this prompt up to do this or get rid of that, add this in, whatever you want. Get comfortable with making things work for you. And honestly, copying other people's prompts, like just copy pasting and using that, that's only going to get you so far. When you run into issues, you won't understand how to fix them for yourself. But starting with somebody else's prompt, looking at it and saying, hey, I want this to be different, that is a very easy way for you to start learning how to prompt, but you still have somebody's basis to go off of and build off of. All right, I want to write a Christmas rom-com story. I'm going to go ahead and say novella of, novellas cap at 45K, right? Or is it 55K? Let's do 40K. All right, so I want to write a Christmas rom-com novella of 40K words. Give me 5 distinct premises that subvert tropes. Let's see what it does. Any questions while this goes?
Is there anything you would adjust for this if you know you want the novella to be a series?
In this simple prompt that I just did?
Yeah, or anyway, the different ways that you would start it.
Right, so if I want it to be a series, to keep it simple, I would do this, pick what I like, and say, okay, I like this one. Now I want to turn it into a series of however many books. If you're doing romance, you know, it's typical you need to either tell it, hey, I want to focus on the same main couple for all books, or I want different main couples for each book. So I would probably pick first. Now, let's say you want a series of standalones. Now, hopefully y'all know all this, but if not, y'all need to research interconnected and standalone series. Let's say you just want a series, but you don't want them to be connected. Like you don't want the same characters, same group of friends, anything like that. You just want it to revolve around a theme. You just want it to revolve around, hey, Christmas rom-coms or Halloween. You know, there's a reason that holiday novellas do well. I would say I want to write a Christmas rom-com series of novellas. So just add in, I want a series of however many books you want. I want them, let it know if you want it to be interconnected or if you want them to be standalones. If you want them to be standalones, like I could make a whole series out of these. They would all be a standalone novella right here. Sorry, I didn't mean to forget to expand my thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And let me give you these. These are my favorite prompts, especially this one. New authors, research whether you're character-driven or plot-driven. I had no clue. Another author friend asked me, hey, which do you prefer? I'm like, I don't know. I told her a couple of my favorite books, and she watched me while I was brainstorming a story. She said, I think you're character-driven. And I looked into it. I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So I love, love, love using this prompt. I'm the type, we want to enjoy writing, right? take advantage of that relaxing back and forth you can have with AI. Don't focus on, God, I need to get this perfect right now. Trust me, again, you're going to get faster and better the more you use it. So just enjoy it. Enjoy that learning process. I love sitting down with the AI and I will give it this. I will tell it what kind of genre I want to write. If I want like a group of high school friends, college friends, something like that. I love to flesh out those characters that way. Well, we could be using this one too. Anyways, I love this one. There's some prompts. There is a video up here too, right here. So if you prefer to watch the video and see the demo of the output, and if you are a plot-driven person, there's a plot version for you. But this right here, I have actually used and generated an entire series with. So there is the link to that. Hope y'all enjoyed as much as I do. I say I'd love it. All right, so here are our 5 premises here. A cynical ex-elf from a failing Christmas-themed amusement park returns home to find her childhood rival has taken over the park. I don't care for the first one. I'm liking the second one. I'm not a fan of time travel. All right, let's see. It doesn't seem very rom-com-ish on that one. All right, what do y'all think? I liked this one. Any preferences? See that as a no. We'll go with this. Now, I do want to tell it, you know what? Let's use that character prompt. So I'm going to say, I like this premise. But, all right, so remember I said if you don't know what wording you want, if you can't think of the words for the prompt, just talk to it like a normal person. That's what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to say, I don't like the journalist plot point. I just want the friends and the heist. So I'm going to tell it, think along the lines of, I forgot the name of that movie. Tag. That was it, right? James, I know you know. What other comedy stuff? So if you know another one, you could throw that in there. And I'm just going to remind it, this should be a rom-com with a quirky cast of characters. And here is that revision if y'all wanted to see it and save it. And then while that goes, I'm going to grab that this one. All right, so now it's refining it to focus solely on that. Seeing Mia come up in a lot of names. All right, this is the moment. Now we can't do a whole bunch of this because time. But this is when you really need to decide, okay, do you like what the AI gives you? Maybe you want to exclude something. You're not ready to focus on this. Maybe you want to work on the romantic element, but hey, you're not liking this. You're just not ready to focus on it yet. You can leave that out. Or if you're sitting down, like, hey, I'm ready. I'm sitting down. I've got a couple of hours. I want to flesh this out. This is where you start saying, okay, you know what? First thing I want to focus on, this is me personally. I have to have a good name for the character before I can see anything else about that character. First thing I would do is change names. Then I would make sure, okay, hey, I want ages for names. I want their occupations. I want some physical descriptions. I need to start seeing them. Again, just me. But you're like, hey, I just need to get this story straight first. I need to know what's going to happen. Okay. Who's going to be involved in the romantic element? Decide that. How's that romantic element going to unfold? This is the part where you keep going back and forth and treat it like your writing partner and say, hey, let's do this. How about this idea? What are the pros and cons of this happening? I'm going to switch to standard real quick and say, flesh out our characters using this template. And then I am going to tell it I want 7 characters total. Just to add in more. Doesn't mean I have to use all 7 of those. The AI is not going to get mad at me and say, hey, I gave you 7, you only used 5. I'm only giving you 5 this time. All right. So we have Mia, mom of the group, recently divorced, makes lists for everything. Never left the party phase. Pun heavy cocktails. So this right here, again, I like to just relax when I'm doing this. This stands out to me. Don't ask me why, but this immediately drew my attention. Okay, let's focus on this. And I'm only going to do this one right here because, again, we don't have time. But I could say, and I want to switch back to standard because I'm going to try to keep our costs down just so y'all can see how much we can do with how little. So I can say, this is interesting. Let's see what that would look like in this story. So I just want to know, hey, this caught my eye. Let me see if we can actually go somewhere with this. If you're doing something like a cozy, people love recipes. But actually, I can see, is it a thing for anybody to do recipes in a holiday book, holiday romance? I mean, not regular romance, but I would think rom-com might be able to lean that way. Okay, so he can have jingle juice. He serves it at their planning meetings. Mistletoe mojito. Okay. So immediately my mind would go to, we need more ridiculous names. And I want most of them to happen by accident. This is what I would tell the AI. Again, I'm just letting y'all in on my process. I would read it. Hey, yeah, I would tell it, I want more creative names. I would like most of his drinks to happen on accident. All right. So let's copy And we have our characters here.
Nicole, when you organize it like this, in the write-up area, does that give you the benefit of your future chats, like referring to it differently than if you used the character cards and, the other things that if you scroll down, there's more? Like, is there a AI reason to use this instead
Not
of,
really.
okay,
Not AI reason. This is mainly I prefer
just
to work this way versus I feel claustrophobic in those
I feel
boxes
you.
all the time. So I like doing it this way, especially in those early stages when I have so many scattered things. That's another reason I don't put them like all in one document. All right. So I'm going to start a new chat, a clean chat there. Let's look at our prompts here. What do we have? Okay. So y'all have that. Again, I'm just going to keep my prompts simple. Y'all have the better versions here. So this is the point we're going to pretend I went through all of this and I like it. Of course, we know I didn't. But this is the point where I would start going through, okay, maybe this is when I decided, oh, I want those to have crazy names and I want to happen by accident. I would do it. But I'm just going to focus on the plot right now. So we need let's flesh out the settings for this story. So what I would be doing with all of these documents, though, eventually one of them needs to have my story. So I wish I could show that one, but it's pretty crude. But I would basically just have everything plainly written out here of what I want to happen. As little or as much detail as I know. It's very, very simple. I can't tell you enough how super simple it is. I'm just writing out. It's these characters. They're here. This happens. Then this happens. This person's mad. This person's sad. Whatever. And then I would just take a little section at a time and I tell chat, let's flesh this out more. Let's flesh this character out. Let's flesh out this plot point more. The story doesn't have its middle, beginning, and ending yet. Let's get that settled. So eventually one document will have my story the way I see it happening. That's the point whenever you really start getting into, okay, let's write this. All right, so now we have our settings. And of course, in any of these, be sure to follow it up if you don't like them.
Nicole, I like what you said about getting to the point of, okay, now we're gonna write. And the thing is, I think I just keep wanting to get to the part where I write sooner, you know? So I don't do enough of this planning.
Oh, and see, this is my favorite part. I
Yeah.
wish I could make money off just planning and plotting and all that. Love it. All right. So I'm just trying to get rid of a little excess here just for the sake of context. For the LLM, get rid of those endings and beginnings. Save a few words, especially if you're going to be switching to high quality or anything. All right. And I'm going to see, I'm not going to mess with this, but I am going to put the instructions here. And I want to see if, I don't think it will pick it up, but if nothing else, it also serves as a note for me, which I do a lot whenever I'm planning, especially if I'm stalled on something. I don't know how it needs to go. I will say, add something here or make this more, whatever. So, all right, we'll go to the plot. Again, we're just going to have to use our imagination, pretend we've gone through everything. I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, I do like it having it here, but all right. And again, remember, it's up to you if you want to use the character cards. Like I say, I do like to use the characters down here. I just typically, for these novellas, I only have a few traits. Press the wrong key there.
Quick question. Can you explain why you're using the 3 brackets?
Whenever you do the 3 brackets, the LLMs see that as a system prompt, so it can help them, it can help reinforce that instructions. It's not a guarantee inside Sudowrite because there's so much back-end prompting, but generally if you put triple brackets around something, it takes that almost as hard-coded. All right, so I'm going to say, let's flesh out the story to have more details. Now, I will have maybe about, I'm not going to lie, maybe this much, one of those. That's about how much I typically start with whenever I've started and saying, hey, help me flesh this out. And I just keep going in sections, y'all. It's rinse and repeat. That is it. Rinse and repeat for each section until they're nice, detailed, and exactly the way you want everything. Okay, each ornament has a story. Okay. So now I am going to tell it. This is where we're going to kind of start getting clunky here because, again, we haven't gone through and actually tailored this and made it look good. You know, it's not flowing, it's not what we're wanting. But we're all short on time. So I'm going to tell it to write 3 distinct samples of prose to show me how you would write this story. And we'll do that in standard and high quality. And again, it's those simple prompts that y'all have. I think it might have been on that other page from yesterday. I'm going to put it in the chat just in case. I want to shove it somewhere real quick. All right, so this is where you start refining its writing style because it will follow that. Very on the nose, very telly. Yeah, very, very telly and on the nose. And cheesy. All right, I want to do a new chat so it doesn't get corrupted and go to higher quality. And of course, you can give it more. Gotta find that prompt. Where is it? It was the one that had places for you to insert the tone and things like that that you wanted. Here we go. 3 distinct samples of writing. And if you wanted in first person, past tense, whatever. And then if you wanted a certain way, horrifying, gritty, you could put those in there. Oh, wrong one. Right. So here's for high quality. Okay, so I like the comedy and action ones. So higher quality definitely did do better there. So I can switch and tell it I like that style. Let's use that for this story. And then find the beginning here. Actually, let's do something funny or definitely needs to be one of the plot points to tell Chat, hey, we need some more funny moments. Let's plot out those funny moments. All right, so let's just do the opening then. So look at and list all the ones that you want it to look at. So look at characters. Then write the opening for this story. Make it open with an engaging and catchy hook. And let's see how standard does with that. And I know y'all probably thinking there's got to be more to it than this. I swear there is not. The difference is I would be sitting down, actually going through each of these things, making these characters' names the way I want, look how I want, all those little things, making the plot fleshed out more, go through each section, flesh it out. There's those little cocktails, same thing with settings. And then I would be doing just this with each little section that I'm ready to write after I've picked the writing style. And it's rinse and repeat from this point on. And let's see how standard does, because this was asked. So I'm just going to see how standard will do with correcting it. Sounds way too cheesy and formal. Remember, we don't have anything in style or genre. And again, no really special prompts. And so I'm not liking standard here. Although this captures my eye. So that's another thing. I would probably take that and I would add it to a document. I like to have a document called ideas. I'll show y'all this real quick. So if you like to do everything in Sudowrite, if you don't like to do everything in Sudowrite, don't worry about this. But if you like to do everything inside Sudowrite, I highly recommend making a project that is something you can just duplicate. So this is my folder structure. And whenever I'm ready to do a new one that I know I'm sitting down doing everything here, I just duplicate this. So everything is organized in these folders. So I can have my rough drafts, final, setup documents. And I'll always have one for as I get ideas while I'm working with a story, I just come over here and type that in. So I highly recommend playing around with that. But I'm not liking standards. And I'm just going to use that exact same prompt after switching to high quality. How is this so far? Is this useful to you? Is anybody confused on anything, not understanding something?
Well, I have actually a question about what you just did.
Okay.
Would it not be better to have a fresh chat and switched over to higher quality and run that same prompt again so it does not take into consideration the information you did not like from standard?
That's actually what I was going to do next. I
Okay.
wanted to actually see that and demo that. So keep that in mind. Yes, it can, because it's going to read everything back, read back everything here. So yes, it can take that into account. So let's actually see. I'm just going to look at focus on the opening. But I love this actually. What do y'all think?
Liking it, yeah.
I would need to tell it something I've been telling the AIs a lot lately is avoid metaphorical language and similes. Because when they try to do this, I don't like them. I never like what they come up with. Ground zero for chaos. All right, let's try the new chat. Same prompt. Yes, whoever raised their hand.
That would be me. All I want to throw in is I just realized that one of the greatest things you can tell people when we start these things is be prepared to be patient.
Yes.
Get it right on the front end and then worry about it, because that's my problem. And I think a lot of people's is we just want to cut to the chase.
Yeah. And y'all, again, I've been using Sudowrite since the end of 2021. So I would say it took about a year. It took 6 months to get comfortable. Like I felt comfortable with experimenting with anything and everything. You brought an idea to me. I'm like, okay, I can make this work. And probably about a year. No, it was more than that. A year in, I was probably getting 65% usable prose. Probably another year after that, I was getting 75 to 90% usable prose. Now, I can usually get some good prose. Like I just need to proofread for my little short stuff that I'm not really interested in and get it out there. So it does come with time. What you'll find is you'll be happy with it. You're like, okay, I can handle this output. I can work with this. You'll do with that for 3 or 6 months or however long. And then you'll learn something new. And you're like, oh, let me go incorporate that and see what happens. And you'll take things up another level. Which one do y'all like better? This one, God, that is a long sentence. I think I like the other one better. Yeah. I like the other one. So from this point on, again, it's rinse and repeat. Because if I was actually doing this, it would be one little section that I would have just done, going back and forth until that writing style was good. And then I'd say, Okay, write the next scene. Great. We'll say, great, write the next part of this 40K story. And I would just keep going like that. Obviously, copying the output into a document. And that is it, y'all. And then what you can do, let me create a new document here. Is it done? So what I like to do is after I have a few scenes done, this is how many words? I cannot see what, there we go, 641. I would like to probably have about 1,500 words, but this is fine. Once you have a good chunk, I would work on refining this output right here. Why? Because if it's close enough and it's only going to take you a little bit, I'm not talking about, oh my gosh, this is still only halfway there. If it's halfway there, it's not worth the time. I want to get my full draft out first, then I can go back and do better. But this, I would feel like this is close enough. I can do some little tweaks here and there, get this good, and then I can actually tell chat as it's writing more, make sure you follow the writing style in and at that document right there so it keeps with that writing style. And also my cursor would be here anyways, and it will read back in that document that you're writing on.
Mr. Bill had a good idea. Would you rewrite it with my voice?
No comment.
Okay.
I just I prefer those little granular actions. I do like quick edit, so quick edit is good. I would use quick edit or just some manual tweaks here and there, or chat. Let's see, I'm trying to find something right there. All right, so for instance, we'll do quick edit and chat so you can see. All right, so quick edit first. And I'm gonna, let's see, how will I do here? Free. And this is good, but the dialogue is
Nicole, the organization that you have set up for yourself inside of Sudowrite as your master file, is that like written down somewhere so we can use that for ideas on our own organizations?
it
Is
is
that like
not
in one of your documents somewhere?
it is not I usually just take screenshots when people have wanted that in the past.
Oh, okay. You could put a screenshot in one of the documents.
That is very true. Never thought of that.
It looks very detailed, so.
Right, so here is the refinement prompt I'm doing just for this little section. And we'll see how quick edit does with it, and then we'll look at chat.
Already more Christmassy.
Did it? Doesn't feel like it changed anything. Just changed a little bit. That was on the free version. So I'm going to reject that. We'll test quick edit on the higher quality. Let's look at our activity real quick. Ooh, that cost a pretty penny, huh? So those were our higher quality ones. And then look at that difference in quick edit high quality versus chat high quality. Let's see how high quality did. Nope, reject. So chat it is. And this is about all we have time for. But again, I would just rinse and repeat. Once I got this part right, the rest flows much better because you're telling it to refer to that. Hang on, I lost the prompt.
Thank you, Nicole.
Yes, ma'am. And then if you're wanting to, you need to work on your blurb or something, chat can help you with your blurb. There are some prompts in those documents for y'all to do that. If you want social media things, there's prompts for TikTok or other social media things. So give it a try. Like I said, if nothing else, use that free version just to get all of your basic ideas down until you're at the point where you know exactly what you want. And then you can use higher quality or yourself, whatever else you want to use for the rest of it. So right now I'm seeing pieces of both that I would like. So it would be a little bit closer and would take probably a couple more back and forths with it until it was good enough for me to continue going with the rest of the story. And that is it. Again, rinse and repeat. So have whatever basic stuff in your document, whatever you see happening with the story, ask chat to help you flesh out the characters, ask chat to help you flesh out the story more, add plot details. If you're wanting to do an actual outline, it can help you with that. But typically I just take each little section and ask it to help me flesh that out and then write the scene. And that's it. All right, so hopefully this is helpful. I know we're a little bit over, so I am going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I will hang around for questions. And thank y'all for hanging out with me again today. Bye, everyone.